Hi everybody, I'm Stacy.
And I'm her daughter Mickey, and welcome
to KiddieNomics! Yay! All right, we have another edition of Financial Literacy Fridays with KiddieNomics. Today, we are going to talk about one of the pillars of financial literacy, and that is credit. So I like to say, if this is not the most important topic, then it's the most important topic. It is very important to understand how credit works. But before we get started with our special guest expert today, and she has two great looking guests, those handsome boys in the background, we are going to do the usual. We are going to just start with our housekeeping items. So hang on one moment. Everybody can see my screen. Here we go. All right, welcome to KiddieNomics. We'd like to first thank all the new kiddies that have joined today. We thank you very much. And of course, we always want to thank all of the returning kiddies that have joined us week after week. We love that you guys and girls have been awesome with joining us week after week. So just to remind everybody, what is KiddieNomics? Like, why are we here? So KiddieNomics will help kids ages 8+ to develop a healthy relationship towards financial literacy, helping to start kids off on the right path to have a successful financial future. And that's what we want, right? We want everybody to have a successful financial future. So I just want to talk a little bit really quickly. Please remember we did online money management or online money skills or management for kids a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about the importance of keeping your information private. So I just want to remind everybody that we cannot see or hear you on the webinar. So the only way for you to communicate is through the chat box down below. So if you raise your hand, then please type out your question in the chat box and I will read it out either to our expert today or to help answer your question. But please, in the chat box, no sharing of information. So we want it, make sure you keep your information private. I know a lot of you have been on KiddieNomics for quite some time, so you see familiar names and you do want to chat to each other. Please just remember, don't share your personal information, like where you live, your phone numbers, like nothing personal about you, okay? Just to make sure that we keep everybody safe, right, on the platform. So that is very, very important. And also, please remember to keep your books and pencils handy to write down any questions or answers that we may have as we go along through KiddieNomics, okay? All right. Now, I would like to introduce the phenomenal Keisha Johnson. She is a mortgage agent. So Keisha has been in the mortgage industry for over 10 years now. She is open, honest, confidential, and direct. She takes great pleasure in assisting her clients with their goals towards home ownership. Her approach to home ownership is an educational one. That's what we love, and that's why we have her on. She believes in educating her clients during the process so that they feel comfortable about the purchase process. Having good credit is a very important part of purchasing a home. As a result, Keisha does online and in-person workshops on how to improve your credit. She also presents to teenagers, young adults, with the hopes that they will make the right choices now and in the future. One of her favorite quotes is, "We cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future." That's a phenomenal quote. We love that one. With that being said, it is a joy to present to this age group. She hopes to have a small part of shaping your little mind to make big decisions in the future. Yay! Well, thank you very much. We'd like to welcome Miss Keisha Johnson with her phenomenal sons in the background. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There you go. Hi, Miss Keisha.
Hello.
You want to
Hi,
introduce those two little handsome boys in the background?
Hi, guys. Hi. That's Jeremiah over. Oh, no. That's Jeremiah over here. And that's Hosea over here. They're the J&H group.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. All right. So you can take it away, Miss Keisha.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So I am going to go into our presentation on credit. Just give me a moment here. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see this? I hope so. There we go. All right. So let's get right into it. So as we know, credit, it is very, very important. And I'm going to teach you about credit so that you can understand why it's very important. All right, so credit is the trust which allows one person to provide money or resources to another person. That money is not paid back right away. All right. Now, every time you go to the store to try to get credit, to try to get a credit card or a loan to borrow money to buy something, that company will check your credit report to see if they can trust you enough to lend you money. That is what credit is. So they need to have something to go to so that they can see if they can truly trust to lend you the money. All right. Now, what information is on your credit report? This is the information that's on your credit report. Your name, all right, or maybe a nickname. Sometimes we have a nickname, you know, and so they want to make sure that they have the right person, because sometimes you may use your nickname as well, and they tie it together, they pull it together so they know what your name is and your nickname, so they have the right report. All right, they also have your date of birth as well. Do we have a question?
Yeah, quick question. Yes. That we want to know. What really is a credit? Like, why do we have a credit report? What is a credit report? Why do they make one?
Right. Well, they make a credit report is used so that they can, so that companies, you know, let's say if you go to the mall and, you know, you want to buy something, but you don't have enough money to buy it, right? So what you would get is a credit card. And I think you learned a bit about the credit card with Hadriana in a previous presentation. So your credit will help that person who's at the store learn about your history in payments to see if they can trust you to actually give you that credit card, approve you for that credit card so that you can purchase the item through credit. All right. Hope that answers the question. We'll get more into it as we go through the slides as well. But these are the things that are on your credit card. Your your credit report, your date of birth is on there as well. Your address, where you work, right? How many times you try to borrow money. So that's on the credit report as well. They're really tracking, you know, they're really tracking you to understand you so that they can get familiar and feel comfortable to see if they want to loan you that money, all right? How much money you owe and the company you owe is also on that credit report as well, all right? Now, your credit report, as I said, it gives details of how well you have done. Just like your report card, you know, we all get a report card. If you're going to school and stuff like that, you get your report card and your parents get it. So just like your report card, the teacher gives your parents information on how well you're doing in school. Your credit report lets the person you are borrowing from know how well you're doing with paying back and if they can trust you enough to lend you money. Okay, now the person you are borrowing the money from is actually called the lender. All right, so whenever I say the lender, I'm speaking about the person that you are going to borrow that money from. Okay, now your report card gives you a grade using letters, and your credit report actually gives you a grade using numbers. So you see over here to the left, you see some numbers. Now, if your credit report shows a score of maybe 770 or higher, that is excellent credit. That means you've been paying back phenomenal. And that's what you want to do, because when lenders see that, they are more willing to want to lend you money. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind to make sure that you're paying back so that you can build your credit. All right. Now here's oh, go ahead. I have another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's ask the kids. Let's ask the kids how they are understanding what is credit so far. So How are you guys understanding what is credit? What do you think credit is? Let me know in the chat box. Mickey, what do you think credit is?
Like a credit card.
Yes. So credit is part, like a credit card is part of credit, right? Yeah. And having a credit card, is that money that you owe, or is that your money?
Is that your money? Yeah.
Is that your money, or is that money, or is that somebody else's money?
Your money, because it came out from your bank account.
Ah, so Mickey says that it's her money because it came out of her bank account. Is that right, everybody? Let me see. So let me see. Okay, so Egypt says credit isn't your money. Good job, Egypt.
Yeah.
Joel, I think credit is borrowing money. Good job. Yeah. Good job, Joel. Egypt,
Awesome.
that is money. That's right. So a credit card, if you do use it, is debt, right? Kamoya, yes. Koi says, nope, it is not your money. And Janaya says that it's money you owe, right? It's money that you owe because it's not money coming out of your pocket, right? It is the credit card company lending you the money for you to use, and then you must pay it back, right? Pay them back, right? Correct. Good job, everybody. Good job. And how are we all understanding what credit is or a credit report is? No? Okay, so Miss Keisha's going to tell us more.
All right. Okay. So what I have here is just a little sample of a credit report. It's a little blurry, and I do apologize, but to the left, you'll see a credit report. And then to the right, you'll see your your report card. So just a bit of a comparison, because as I said, your report card gives information to know how well you're doing, how well you're doing in school, how well you are keeping up with your work. And the credit report, it gives information on how well you are doing with paying back money. All right. Now you'll see on the report, and as I said, it's a little blurry. It has the information like your date of birth, because they need to know how to find you. So whenever you go to the store and you pull your credit, this is what the lender sees, a report like this on the left side. This credit report gives information so they know your date of birth. You see all of these dates here coming down. This is every time you went to the store and your credit was pulled. Let's say you went to Toys R Us, you went to the Brick, Leon's to buy furniture. Every time you want to borrow money, your credit is pulled and it shows on your credit report. So you see every time it shows the dates, all the dates that it was pulled. All right. And it shows, of course, date of birth, as I said, where you work. So it gives all your information, and it keeps it on their system so they know who you are. I think I see a hand there. Was there a hand up there? Yeah.
Yes. So we had a question from Brianna. She would like to know, what if you don't use the credit card? Do you still have to pay it back? That's a very good question.
Yes, very good question. So if you don't use the credit card, then you don't have to pay anything back because you haven't borrowed any money. All right. So that's something to keep in mind. Right. So you have to borrow money. You have to use that credit. If you go to the store and maybe you're buying a laptop or something, then you start to slowly pay it back, or you could pay it back in a lump sum. The same amount that you purchased the item for, you could pay it back right away, because maybe at the time when you purchased it, you didn't have all of the money. So if you're not using it, then you don't have to pay anything back, because there's nothing to pay back. But one thing you should know is, in order to build your credit, you do have to use it. That's the only way for them to see how well you pay back. So if you want to build your credit and get that high score of 770, you have to use those credit cards and pay it back responsibly. All right.
We have
Any more
another question from Joel. Joel is asking, how about if you never borrowed money before? What would happen on your credit report?
If you never borrowed money before, then there wouldn't be a lot of information on your credit report because you haven't borrowed, and so there's nothing to track to see how well you're paying back money. So you have to borrow in order for you to have a report like this, so they can see, so the lender can see how well you are able to pay back money, how well they can trust you to lend you money.
Awesome. Stacey Ann, I see that you raised your hand. Please ask your question in the chat box. So I see that you raised your hand, but you got to type it in the chat box so that we can answer the question for you. You can see my response in the chat box, okay? All right, go ahead, Miss Keisha.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so this is what an online credit report would look like. All right, so as you see, there's that another big score there, 772. Excellent. That means you're doing super awesome. All right, so this is what an online credit score would look like. You would go to the site, and I'm going to show you the two companies very shortly, and you'll be able to pull your credit report. Oops, sorry, can I go back here? Pull your credit report to keep track of how well you're doing, because you want to keep track of your credit as well. Okay, now you see the lowest score over here is 300. All right, now that's poor credit. That's really, really bad. That means you're not doing well at paying back, and that's not good. That means you're going to get a really low score. And does anybody want a low score? I hope not.
Would you want a low score? So we have a question. Joel says no. No. Celine says no. Stacey Ann does have a question. She said, what happens if you don't pay? Adonis says no. Olivia says no. Brianna says no. Elias says no. No, you don't want.
No.
Go bankrupt. Koi, definitely no. Shirley says no. You guys are all awesome. Mickey, what do you say? No. Mickey says no. Renata says no. Good job, everybody. Nobody wants to have a low credit score.
No, not at all.
Can we please answer Stacey Ann's question? What happens if you don't pay?
Yeah, so if you don't pay, then what would happen is, of course, you would get that low credit score. You know, it will bring down your score. And then when you want to buy something else in the future and your credit is pulled and the lender sees that you haven't been paying, they will say, oh no, we can't lend you any money because you've proven that you're not trustworthy. We can't trust you to loan you money. So you want to pay back so that you will have great opportunity to borrow when you need to at the next time. All right? I hope that answers it. Good stuff. All right.
Yes, so you can return to the ranges for your credit score.
Yeah, so here it is again, guys. So you see this shows you from the worst credit score to excellent credit. And I will let you know that it actually goes higher than that. It goes up to 900. And I will say, I do have yet to see someone who has a score of 900. I've seen 850, but I've never seen 900. I think I'll be doing my happy dance if I ever see that amount, because that means that person is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, doing well with keeping up and paying back their responsibility of whatever loan or borrow they have done with money. All right, so I hope that you take a look at that. You know, you want to be in that green zone. That's where you want to be. Red means danger, as we usually know, and you don't want to be there. You know, that means that will, you know, put you in positions where you're not able to borrow money. And there will be a time in your life that you're going to want to borrow money to do big things, and you want to be able to do so. All right. I see a hand, I think.
Yes, we were going to ask the kids, where should you be on this scale of credit scores? So should you be in the yellow box, the green box, the forest green box? Where do you guys think that you should be? Joel, at least, Egypt says at least yellow. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just see. Egypt says at least yellow. Shoot for yellow, says Egypt. Brianna says green. Renata says yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan says green. Dark green if you can from Koi. Good job. Janaya says green. Green says Stacey Ann. Kesha says dark green. Kamoya says dark green. Daria says dark green. Yes, if you could have dark green, that would be absolutely excellent. Shirley says green. Good job.
And Jeremiah has.
Where should you be? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Where do you want to be?
I want to be excellent.
You want to be excellent. She wants to be in the dark green.
Green.
Olivia,
where do you want to be, Haziah?
Dark green.
Dark green. Where do you want to be, Jeremiah?
Dark green.
And why? Why do you want to be dark green?
Because I want to pay back my money, and so I could
Speak loud.
use the credit card.
So Jeremiah says he wants to pay back his money so that he'll be able to use the credit card. So you'll be able to use that credit card again and be able, so that lenders will have no problem lending you money. All right.
I love Egypt's answer. Egypt says you want to be dark green, but try to be in yellow at first and work your way up. Right?
Right. I love that. Love that.
Right?
Yes.
Good job. Good job.
Awesome. All right. So these are the two major credit card agencies that keep track of how well you're paying back your lenders. This is Equifax and TransUnion. All right. So when you see these, when you see these company names, they are credit agencies and they keep track of how well you're doing, these two agencies. All right. Now, they're two completely separate agencies. So keep that in mind. Their credit reports look, I would say, fairly different. All right. So you want to keep that in mind, that you want to actually check them both, because what Equifax may have, TransUnion may not have. All right. So you want to make sure that you pull your credit from both of these credit card agencies. And so just to give you an idea, TransUnion, if you go to the furniture store or maybe you go to buy a car, TransUnion usually is the credit source that's pulled. That's the report that's pulled. And maybe one day if you decide to buy a house, Equifax is the company that the mortgage industry uses to pull your credit to see how well you've been doing on paying back. All right. So can you, go ahead. Question?
Yes, question, right? We have a question. Why do we have two credit card reporting agencies, and how do we know which one pulls what? So what should we do? What should a person do? If car companies uses TransUnion, and if you want to buy a house, Equifax uses, or lending institutions use Equifax. So why are they two, and then how do you know who pulls what?
Oh, right. So there are two different agencies. Oh, can you hear me? Yes. There are two different credit card agencies. There's not really a complete reasoning as to why there are two, because they're two separate. They're two completely separate companies. All right. Now we have no control over which agency is used when you go into a store to buy something and you need your credit, you need your credit to be pulled. But usually, in my experience, what I have found is that when it comes to purchasing a car or buying furniture, those companies usually use TransUnion. All right, they usually use TransUnion. And when you're buying a house, usually those companies usually pull from Equifax, okay? Now, I will let you know that sometimes if your credit is not 100% the best, the lender may pull them both. They may pull them both just to make sure they feel very comfortable with moving forward and actually lending you money. Because as I said, Equifax may have a fair credit report, but then TransUnion, has other things on there that you have not been paying back that Equifax doesn't have. So sometimes the lender will actually pull them both just to feel comfortable to make the final decision.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. And so you want to try to pull your credit at least once a year, right? So that could be maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe that's in January, or maybe in December, but you want to try to pull your credit at least once a year. Does anyone know why you pull your credit, why you check your credit?
Do you know why you would check your credit?
To make sure if like any money stolen.
That's a good one. To make sure if any money was stolen from you. That's a good answer. What does everybody else think on the chat box? Why should you pull your credit once a year?
And
to make sure, Egypt says to make sure everything is the way you left it. Mickey has another answer.
And to make sure no information is stolen.
And to make sure no information is stolen. Good job. Adonis says to make sure you are doing well. Good job. Egypt says make sure the information is correct. Elias says to see if there are any errors. I love that answer, Elias. That is awesome. Jonathan says check your progress and fraudulent claims. Ooh, Jonathan, that is a good one, right? That's a good one. Janaya says to check your score. Yes, because you need to know what your score is, right?
Awesome.
Right, good job. Olivia says to make sure that everything is how you left it. Joel says to make sure there are no mistakes. Stacey Ann says to see if you have money with the money sign. Good job. Good job, everybody.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you guys have basically answered all the right answers here. So this is awesome. Yes, you're checking for fraud. You're checking to make sure that the information is correct, to keep track of your score. Very good. You guys, awesome. Awesome. I love it. All right. So now we're going to go into the 5 C's of credit. Okay. So when you apply for a loan, the lender will use your credit history, which is from your credit report, to see if they can trust to lend to you. They need to know if you will pay back the money they loan you. Now, your credit score is one way for them to decide if they should lend to you, but it's not the only thing that they use to decide. There's something that is called the 5 C's, all right? The 5 C's of credit. And that will help them make their decision. Those 5 things, the 5 things, as I said, are called the 5 C's. And I don't mean candy, 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 candy. All right? So we're going to go into it. Does anyone have any questions at this point? I'm not sure if I saw a hand up there. No? All right. Good stuff. All right. So the 5 C's of credit. We're going to start with the first one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Stacey Ann has a question. Stacey Ann, please type your question in the chat box, okay? If you do have a question, let me just double check on the chat box.
Okay.
Gail, to make sure you're doing well. Good job, Gail. Thank you for that answer. We have a couple of hands raised. So if we do, please remember everybody to type your questions in the chat box, okay? Alrighty, go ahead.
All right. Good stuff. So the first one is your character. That's the first of the 5 C's, character. Now, the credit report can help the lender identify your character. It will let them know if you will pay back what you borrowed. It lets them know if you make your payments on time and if you are paying back the right amount monthly, all right? So that talks about your character, how well you can be trusted, okay? Now, your capacity, that's number 2. This is your cash flow. Are you working, right? Do you have a job? Do you make enough money to pay back what you've borrowed? All right? So this is one of those 5 C's, because guess what? The lender needs to know if you have money to pay it back. Are you working? How are you getting that money in flow coming in so that you can pay back the money that they're going to lend you. All right, so capacity is very, very important. Okay, collateral. Okay, these are things you can sell to pay back the money if for some reason you cannot pay back the money. So maybe if you have a car or something, you know, these are things that you can sell back, that in case you lost your job, maybe you lost your job, or, you know, the lender wants to know if they have collateral, so that if you have collateral, so that they can get back their money no matter what. Okay, so these are things. Does everyone understand what that is so far? Oh, go ahead.
Darius would like to know, or says he doesn't have a job. Most of your kids don't have a job. So can you build credit if you don't have a job, Ms. Keisha?
Well, you
yes.
want to, Nikki says yes. So the main thing when it comes to having, using credit is having the funds to pay that money back, all right? So you want to have some sort of a cash flow coming in, because if you borrow money and you don't have a job to pay that money back, what's gonna happen? Can anyone tell me what's gonna happen if you borrow money and you don't have a job or some resource of funds to come in? What will happen? Jeremiah, Zaya, do you know what will happen? No, Zaya?
No.
Okay, that's okay. Nikki?
They won't start giving you money to borrow.
They won't start giving you money to borrow.
Stop doing it.
Or stop giving you money to borrow.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
so Koi says you might not be able to pay it back and you get a bad credit score. Good, Koi. Brianna says you can't pay it back. Right. Olivia says you can't pay it back. Joel, sorry, you can't pay it back. Daria says, what if you have a business? That's a good question. Let's answer that one. 1 second. Shirley says no. Let me see. Egypt says, in movies, they beat you up. I won't be impressed of your answer, Egypt. It's a good answer, though. Adonna says, you'll have a low credit score. Janaya says,
right.
You can't pay it back. Kamoya says, you can't pay it back. You guys are so on the ball today. Look at these smart KiddieNomics.
Right.
Right? They're so good.
Right.
Alana says, you'll be broke. That's it.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. And if you have a business, that's almost, you know, you're creating your own job, right? That's your own company. That's your own business. So money, you'll have cash flow through that business to pay back those credit cards. All right. So having your own business is awesome. It's awesome. And a credit card can also help you to fund your own business as well, right? And you, as you grow up, you will definitely see how that will assist you, you know, with running your own business as well, how credit can do that. All right. Good stuff. All right. So we're down to the 4th C, and that is capital, right? This is how much money you are putting into the purchase. They call it skin in the game. If you are buying a house, let's say, or a car, how much money are you putting down, right? The lenders are putting their money to help you. So you should also have some money to put towards the purchase. They like to see that. They don't always want to put all of the money. They want to see you put some money too. And that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable in lending you, because they see that you're responsible and you've saved some money for the purchase. All right. And condition, right? The lenders look at things that are happening in the economy, what's happening around us that may prevent you from getting money to pay back what you borrowed. These are things that you may not have any control over, unfortunately, like COVID, for instance. You know, what's happening with the coronavirus COVID situation. Some people who are trying to get a loan may have problems getting that loan because, you know, they lost their job based on COVID. Okay, or maybe you work for someone who had to let you go because of COVID. All right, or the business has shut down. So when that happens, what happens? There's no cash flow. There's no money coming in. But is that your fault? Is COVID your fault? Is it anyone's fault? Can anyone have control over that? No, no,
Olivia
no.
says no. Darius says no. Adonis says no.
Right.
Good job. Janaya says no.
No way. No way. Right. So you have no control over things like this. But guess what? The lender uses it to help them to decide if they want to lend money. Because guess what? They're thinking about getting their money back. That's the most important thing for them. So they got to consider all of these things. All right. So those are the 5 C's of credit. This is what the lenders think about before they actually decide to lend money. Okay. And these are things that maybe one day you may be a lender yourself. And these are things that you want to think about before you decide to lend somebody money. Okay. Now, what can good credit do for you? Can anyone let me know what can good credit do for you? Jeremiah, what can good credit do for you?
It could help you. It could help you to use your credit card fairly and pay back your money. And you could use your credit card, and they don't have to worry because they know you could pay them back.
Awesome. So I hope we all hear that. Jeremiah says that the lender won't have to worry when you have good credit because they know that you pay that money back because you've proven that based on your credit. Anything, Hosea? No? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone put anything in the chat? Mickey?
Yes. Adonis says, help lenders to trust you.
Yes.
Egypt says, make people more inclined to lend you money. Good job. That's a great answer. Good job, Egypt and Adonis. Joel says, it makes your score higher.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mickey?
The people who let you borrow the money can trust you anytime.
Yes, the people who let you borrow their money can trust you anytime.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
Exactly. So here's a picture of some of the things that good credit can do for you, right? Maybe you're off to college, right? Or university, and you need good credit. You need a credit card to maybe help you to buy your books. Maybe you don't have enough funds right now to get all your books. And so having good credit and having a credit card will allow you to do that. Maybe you need the credit to pay for enrollment in your semesters at school. So good credit will allow you to do that. Anyone here wants to maybe buy a home one day? Look at that house. Ooh, right? Anyone wants to buy a house one day? Oh, yes.
Well, Mickey wants a mansion. So,
Oh,
so that's why she likes that picture of that house. One house bigger than ours. Much. That's why.
Right.
Not so big.
Right.
She wants a theater and
Oh.
inside and outside pool and a tennis court to play tennis. So, so you need good credit.
Yeah. And guess what? The sky is the limit if your heart is in it. You got to work towards it, build yourself, and build your credit so that you guys can achieve these goals, right? And maybe a nice car, right? Or open your own business, as we said before. These are things you can do with good credit. Okay, go ahead. Question there?
So we have some great things on the chat box here. So let me just go through it. Kamoya says, I want a mansion. Yay! Good job. Egypt is asking a question. Does your credit apply to student loans? That's a really good question. Egypt also says, you don't want a mansion, more to clean, or get a housekeeper. I love that. Who's going to be the housekeeper to clean up that mansion? Let me see. Darius says, does credit have anything to do with your business and cars? And then Adonis says, I want to start my own business. Yay! Koi says, I want a mansion. Shirley says she wants a car. What's the difference between more? Okay, so we'll answer that after Thomas. But let's go back to Egypt's question. Does your credit apply to student loans?
So if your credit applies to student loans, I'm going to say I'm not 100% sure if OSAP is the student loan. That's the government agency that loans you the funds to go to school. But I'm not. I will have to check that question. Go ahead to see.
Just to clarify, so yes, so it doesn't necessarily apply to your student loans, but it does if you have established credit at a younger age, like in your late teens. If you got a credit card at 19, let's just say, the better the credit score, it affects your rates, I believe. So
Okay.
I just have to double check that one. But
Yes.
the better the credit score that you have with anything with lending, the better the interest rate or the lower the interest rate that you should be receiving.
Okay, yes. Awesome. And yes, your credit can help you to open your own business as well. Maybe you need a loan. You don't have all the funds right away, so you need a loan from the bank to help you to get that office, to get all the equipment. So your credit will help you to do that, right? And as Ms. Stacy said, of course, it allows you to get good interest rate so that your monthly payback is not a whole lot, right? It's an amount that you can handle. And yes, it can help you to get a car. Not all of us have that great big money to buy a car in one time. So we do need credit sometimes to help us to purchase the car. So yes, good credit can help us to buy a car as well.
We had a couple of questions here on the chat. Very
Yeah.
good. Egypt wants to know, does your credit score begin when you get a credit card? How do you start your credit? That's a very good question, right?
Good.
Like, how does credit begin? That's an awesome question, Egypt.
Yep, and yes, it does. When you get your first credit card, that is when your credit begins to build, right? When you get your loan, if it's a loan from the bank, this is how your credit is building. So what you want to do to start, of course, to build your credit is to get a credit card, and you make small purchases and you pay it back, small purchases and you pay it back. This is the way that you are going to build your credit.
Awesome. Nope, I think that's it. Darius says he wants a Lamborghini.
Mustang.
Mustang.
Alrighty.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now I have a little bit of a quiz here. I'm hoping that everyone was paying attention. All right, let's go. So name the two major credit card agencies. Let's
Equifax and TransUnion.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. Next one, let everyone else answer, all right? Anyone else in the chat? So we got it. I think you might have heard Jeremiah Haziah, Equifax, and TransUnion. So what would be considered as excellent credit? Can I get those who are listening to answer that one? What would be considered an excellent credit? What score?
So Egypt says 700 plus. Darius says 760 plus. That's what Mickey says. So does Darius say that. Egypt says, oh no, 759 plus. Brianna says 700 to 900. The kids answered Equifax and TransUnion. Renata says 800. Darius says 770. They're all basically saying between 700 and 900. Good job, because those are all in the green boxes. Yay!
Good job. Good job. I'm going to throw this one out there. This is not a part of the questions, but I'm going to put it out there. What is considered as a bad credit score? What you don't want to have.
What was bad? What was the score number for bad?
300.
300 to 500. Good job. Elias says 100. Jonathan says 300 to 559. You were exact. Good job. Good job. Joel says 300. They're all saying, Dylan says 300. Darius, 300. Brianna says 200 to 500. Yes, they're all saying 300 to 559. Stacey Ann, Kesha, 300, 400, Shirley. Good job, everybody.
Awesome. You guys are doing awesome. Awesome.
We're all paying attention.
Good stuff. How often should you check your credit? How often?
Like
Each month.
Or did you see?
Month of the year.
Not each month of the year.
no,
Because Jeremiah said each month of the year, but that wasn't quite it.
Mickey
Not every
said
month.
every single month, too. Every single month.
Every single one?
That's what Mickey said. So let's see. What does the kids say on the chat box? So Egypt says every year. Adonis, once a year. Elias says often.
Oh, that's
Julie
okay.
says, a year. Renata says every year. Once a year, Elias. Jonathan, once per year. Darius, Kamoya, at least once a year. I think everybody's now saying once a year. Devin, at least once a year. Brianna, every year. Elias wants to know, is it for free? Darius says December and January. He was paying attention to your exact slide. Good job. Good job. Shirley says 6 months. January or December, Brianna. Coy, every year. Stacey Ann, once a year. So there is a question back here that says, is it for free? Can you check your credit score for free?
All right, very good question, very good question. So your credit report, it is free to pull your credit report, but if you want your score included in that report, you do have to pay, right? So I do advise, if you are going to pull your credit, I say definitely pull your score with it, because you need to know where that score is at so you know what you're working towards, okay? So yes, it is free, and that report includes all of the companies that you have borrowed from, and it shows how well you're paying back and all that stuff. But if you want the score, you do have to pay for it. All right. And someone said every 6 months. 6 months is good as well, right? But if you can't do it at you know, at least once a year. Okay. So awesome answers. Awesome answers.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
And
Anything else?
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, so what are the 5 C's of credit? Can anyone tell me? What are the 5? All right, Jeremiah said character. Someone else. What else is out there? That's 1.
So let's see. Devin says character, capacity, collateral, capital, and condition.
Whoa.
Devin says the same thing. Character, capacity, collateral, capital, and condition. I think they're all saying it. Kamoya says character. Janaya says capacity. You guys are so good.
Awesome.
We're all answering. You guys are amazing. Amazing.
Good stuff.
Saying, yep. Character, capacity, condition, and capital. Did they get it right, Miss Keisha?
Yes, they sure did. I am impressed. I am impressed. This is awesome. Very good. Very good. All right. All right. So we're at the end of my presentation here, but I want for us to all say this together at the count of 3, because guess what? It is so important to building your credit. So important. I'm going to count it out and we're going to say it together. I know I can't hear you, but I'm going to put on my special ears and just hear those voices through the computer. All right? 1, 2, 3. Say it. Always pay back what you borrow. Yes. Awesome.
Good job. Well, some of them typed it in the chat box, which is amazing. Thank you, Olivia. Always pay back what you borrow.
Good stuff.
Very good. Koi says the same. Good. They're all typing it in the chat box. Always pay back what you borrow. Good job, everybody. I did, Miss Keisha, have one last question from Thomas. He wants to know, what does a mortgage agent do?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, a mortgage agent helps you to get the money to buy a home. So one day when you want to buy your home, if you don't have all the money, and that's why credit is important, if you don't have all the money, the mortgage agent actually helps you to get the financing, is what we call it, get the money to be able to purchase a home one day.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Keisha.
Awesome.
And the boys, thank you for joining today. I am going to ask you to stop sharing your screen so I can do
Yes, I will. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. It was awesome.
Thank you. Hang on, everybody. All right. Let's do our wrap up. And then, and I see, let me just make sure. Yes, fantastic. All right, last question, as we usually have. What would happen if kids became more financially literate? And our answer is
real change that impacts the world.
Real change that impacts the world. And the reason why we say this is the better that you guys can make educated choices and decisions that will financially help you in the long run, you will be able to take advantage of amazing opportunities that come your way, because finances won't be something that will hold you back. or at least to know that you're educated enough to make sound financial decisions that will positively affect your financial outcome. So that's what we want for everybody on KiddieNomics. So let's talk about what's coming up, the upcoming weeks. All right, so listen everybody, I want to make sure that we all understand. This is the last KiddieNomics at 11 a.m. Okay, it's not the last KiddieNomics, it's just the last KiddieNomics at 11 a.m. So school is starting. I know we have kids on that are joining from all over the world. And so with that, you may have already started school, but we are in Ontario, Canada. And so our school district is starting on Tuesday, September 8th. So because of that, because the kiddies will be back in school, that means that we can't hold KiddieNomics at 11 a.m. We will be holding KiddieNomics now going forward at 5 p.m. Yay! Look, I heard it in the background. Somebody's been paying attention. So KiddieNomics going forward will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Not 11 p.m. So the reason why is that we hope that you'll be able to get home from school or from online learning and get a snack, get yourself settled, and join KiddieNomics at 5 to 6 just before dinner starts for you, okay? So coming up next week on September the 11th, which will be at 5 p.m. On February 11th, we're going to have Andrea Rowland from the BACD. We're going to be talking about branding for kids. This one is going to be fun. What does branding mean? Well, it's part of marketing, and it's going to show you how to brand your business. So remember a few weeks ago, we're always going to touch on entrepreneurship and how to build your business. I know a few of you have said you want to own your own business, so this is part of it, okay? Having a brand and knowing what your brand is and how to build a brand is going to be extremely important as you go forward. Egypt and Niobe, I see that you're raising your hand, so can you type it in the chat box and I'll try to get to your question before we wrap up. Sorry, let me just go back. So we're going to be talking about branding. Why don't this go back up? Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to get rid of this screen. Dismiss. It won't dismiss. All right. Here we go. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, September. There we go. Let me move it out of the way. I apologize. This won't move. There we go. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about, branding on September the 11th. And then the following week, we're going to be with Uchichi. She is going to be talking about wealth from within. So having a positive mindset towards money or finances is extremely important, okay? So we're, as you can see on KiddieNomics, we're gonna talk about vastly different topics relating to financial literacy. So having a positive mindset towards financing or finances, a successful financial future is really important. How you think and view money is really important on how you're going to be able to handle money. Okay, and then the following week on Friday, September the 25th, Billie Jane Rojo Bolton will be back on KiddieNomics. She is amazing. Uchiki is amazing. We have amazing experts that have been on KiddieNomics, and so she's going to be talking about insurance for kids. So that's what's going to be happening on the following weeks. And remember, like I said, we will be at 5 p.m. What time, Michaela?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and now, okay, sorry, I've been trying to move these chat boxes out of the way. There we go. Okay, because you guys can see my screen. There we go. All right. Last one is let's talk. Listen, KiddieNomics is here to help create tiny financial literacy ambassadors around the world. We want to hear from you. Tell me what topics you want us to cover and talk about. If you can let me know if you have an idea and you want to learn about something, please let me know and we'll get an expert on to help you guys and talk about it, okay? As usual, you can contact me at kiddienomics101@gmail.com or any of our social media handles, which are Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and always use the hashtag KiddieNomics or Ask KiddieNomics so that we can follow along, okay? And please, guys, if you do check our KiddieNomics YouTube channel, please remember to like and subscribe to the KiddieNomics YouTube channel. Always remember, every single episode is recorded and uploaded to our KiddieNomics YouTube channel every single week. So if you missed this week or any of the previous sessions, please go on to the YouTube channel, our KiddieNomics YouTube channel, to watch any of our past episodes or this episode. I will post this episode, or in all future episodes, it's posted by 3 p.m. on the Friday, so you won't miss it, okay? All right, thank you, Miss Keisha and the lovely boys. Thank you, everybody, for joining KiddieNomics today, and bye! I'm gonna stop share here, and there we go, bye!